Oh. Oh. Afternoon, guys. Well, yeah, still kind of the afternoon. Afternoon, evening on Sunday. So usually this is my rest day, as you'd know if you've watched my previous videos. But basically what happened was I had a rest day earlier in the week and kind of pushed my remaining training sessions a day back. So rested earlier in the week, which means that I have to train Saturday and Sunday instead of just Saturday. Yesterday I had my second leg session, but I did skip my hamstring movement, so I'm just going to tag that on to today's back session. I didn't train triceps like I normally do after my cardio this morning, so I'm going to do my AM session in addition to my PM session today, in addition to the hamstring curls from yesterday. So basically what that's going to look like is 3 back exercises, 8 sets of that. Then I've got 2 tricep exercises, 2 to 3 sets each tricep exercise. So it's either 4 or 6 working sets for triceps, and then I've got 3 working sets for hamstrings on the hamstring curls. But yeah, feeling pretty flat today, I'll be honest, guys. Had a bit of a late night last night. We went to a bodybuilding show yesterday. It was the Thailand regional show, and that was cool. A lot of people were like peak off season, just doing the show. I shit you not, just to qualify for the national show later in the year, so they don't have to do a show closer to nationals, and they can have like, I suppose, an uninterrupted growing phase right now. So we saw some bodybuilders in peak off season. Like, I'm not talking guest posing conditioning, I'm talking peak off season, like dudes that didn't even have any abs get up on stage in posing trunks and pose. Then there were some poor souls that just had shit coaches and they just weren't able to diet properly, and they looked like they were in their off season, but they were legitimately serious about this show, and they weren't conditioned. I've noticed that's a big trend over here in Thailand though. I think a lot of the local coaches in Thailand here are absolute dog shit at coaching, and that was evident by the caliber of physiques that were presented at the show yesterday. But that's not my problem. Just put it that way. If they want to get coached properly, they can reach out and inquire. Otherwise, they can just waste their time with the coaches over here that give them a burger or a pizza every night for the last 2 weeks of prep. I don't know how the hell they think that's going to help their conditioning. Just some weird old school bro science shit. Like, they're not even close to single digit body fat, some of them, and they were getting given or getting prescribed a full large pizza every night. Like, didn't make sense. But I'm going to get this session done despite feeling pretty tired and shit. Got my BCAAs, creatine and carb powder, so only 30 grams of carbs today. I don't know why I didn't do the full 50, but 30 grams of carbs, 10 grams of BCAAs and 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, just micronized creatine monohydrate, the cheapest, best quality creatine that you can get. So today's back session is more upper back focus, which means more rowing essentially, so more pulling in the transverse plane, so this being the transverse plane. I've got one vertical pulling movement, just regular grip pull downs, just to bias the teres a little bit more, and that's pretty much it for back. Then I've got, apologies if I'm blinking heaps too, guys. When I'm sleep deprived or when I've got high stress levels, I tend to get this, I guess you could call it a tic, or like I've got autism, or I'm on the spectrum, so it's probably some sort of stimming. I really haven't looked into it enough, but it's frustrating, I get it, and it just, when it happens, it's almost self-perpetuating. Like, it's hard to stop once I get going. But yeah, if you're wondering why I'm blinking like a fucking drug addict, that's why. I'm not on cocaine or anything, I'm just a little bit stressed and worn out. I've had a couple of clients who checked in stupidly fucking late this week. I'm going to try get their stuff done today. I told them I would try get it done, but it's just an inconvenience because obviously it interrupts and spoils my weekend off. But I'll try get that done. I'm just running on fumes today, I should say that, guys. But yeah, cable rows, pull downs, and then a low row, which is arguably a little bit more lat biased given the the position of the humerus or the arm at the shoulder joint, the glenohumeral joint. But still a lot of upper back because I am getting full protraction, full retraction involved. Great, now I've got hiccups. I'm blinking like a drug addict and I've got hiccups. Fantastic. Anyway, this is enough rambling, guys. You get the idea of the session. I hope so, at least. Let's get into it. Oh shit! Dropped my earphones. Oh no! Thought I dropped my earphones for a minute. Let's put my keys in my bag so I don't lose those. I don't want to be locked out when I get home. Me and my fiance's home, but she's sleeping, so I highly doubt that she'll wake up anywhere close to when I get home. So do a warm-up set, and I'll dive into the working weight because, as I kind of discussed in a recent video, I've had to restructure and
Bro, you right?
Hey mate.
You good?
Yeah, you good mate.
Back
Yeah.
day,
Yeah, back day, back triceps, and then a little hamstrings. Yeah.
Just having glutes for me today.
Oh really? You go alright?
Favourite day.
Yeah. It's. I don't know. You can never have enough hamstrings. Yeah.
I don't mind doing it, but it's just like legs all together. I'm like, oh fucking hell.
Yeah, you gotta split it up. Yeah. Feels really light. So what was that? So apparently 45 kilos. So I'll probably go double that or close to it, maybe 85 kilo. See how that feels for the first working set and adjust based according to that. Yeah, I actually really like this exercise and I think it's pretty underrated. I don't really see many people do this exercise, to be honest. A lot of people use like close, kind of like V grip attachment. I think it's just because it stokes the ego, they can use more weight, shortens the range of motion so you can't get as much of a contraction. So, I mean, if you're training length and partials, I guess it's a fine attachment to use, but if you want to actually get a full range of motion row, then you should probably use a straight bar like this or a cambered bar. But yeah, if you use a close V grip bar, you're just going to shorten the range of motion and get less out of the exercise. So. So nice low repetitions on this, well, sort of low. I guess it's relative, depends on the individual and what they consider to be low reps. But me, traditionally training with more like 10 to 20 reps, this is considered low for me, or I should say, traditionally training with more 15 to 20 reps on back. I'm only doing 8 to 12 reps for this exercise. But yeah. Pretty much the perfect weight, I think. 11, assuming relatively natural accumulation of fatigue. I'll probably hit 10 and 9 on the remaining sets. That has me falling perfectly within the 8 to 12 rep range. So that's a good weight. So in the past I've always said, guys, that I do like to start my back sessions usually with a vertical pulling movement. And you probably have yourself wondering, why am I starting this session with a horizontal pulling movement if I think that's the case? And it ultimately comes down to exercise order and the fact that it actually matters, depending on what your goal is, what your goal of that session is. So when it comes to exercise order, you want to make sure that you're putting your priority body parts first in the session, but you also want to make sure that it's not going to compromise the training that you have later in that session. So for example, if you're doing, say, biceps, you wouldn't want to do them before back because that's going to limit your ability to train back. What you do is put biceps before chest on another day if biceps were a priority body part. That way you're not negatively impacting another body part at the expense of focusing on your priority body part. Similarly, if, say, for example, you want to focus more on your upper back musculature, then doing a horizontal pull is going to be more advantageous than doing a vertical pull at the start of your session. So for this session, it is more upper back focused, more posterior chain upper back focused. And for that reason, I'm doing more pulling in the transverse plane, and I'm doing that at the start of the session. Then I'm doing the, I should say, the lat focus pulling later in the session. Now, just to break my training up a little bit, before I perform my second rowing exercise, I want to just break it up a little bit and hit, or I suppose target, some of the other back musculature a little bit more before going back into that. So I'm doing my pull down exercise now, then I'll be going back into that horizontal pull to finish off, and then into triceps from there. So 2 sets of this, just regular pronated grip lat pull down, 2 sets of 8 to 12. And what I'm really focusing on prioritizing here is just making sure that my shoulder blades are doing the work. I don't care so much as to how much my elbows are bending and straightening, but rather I just want to focus on getting my shoulder blades moving. My elbows will obviously bend and extend, but the priority or the focus, the emphasis is going to be on movement of the shoulder blades, because ultimately that's what's going to dictate how much back is involved in the rowing or the pulling exercise. People seem to have this misconception that the bar needs to touch the chest and come up, and that's all that they need to think about. But the amount of times I see people who are new to lifting in the gym performing a lat pull down or performing a row, and it's so biceps biased, it's not funny. So it's something that you need to keep in mind. If you're trying to target your upper back, or just your back in general, I should say, not your upper back, if you're trying to target your back, you want to make sure that you are actually moving the shoulder blades throughout the exercise. It's not about elbow movement, it's not about how much your elbows can bend and extend, it's about how much your shoulder blades can elevate, protract, and depress and retract. And upwardly, downward rotate. Basically just all kind of actions of the shoulder blades. Something I should actually talk about is the whole slow negative topic or discussion. Does performing a slower eccentric or negative actually yield more hypertrophy or more muscle growth? And the answer is, it depends. If you're talking about slow eccentrics, slow negatives from the absolute beginning of the set, no. However, as you progress further into the set, as your proximity from failure gets smaller and smaller, the eccentric velocity does play a role and does contribute to muscle hypertrophy. So with that said, when you get, say, within 3 to 5 reps of failure, that's when the negatives start to count towards muscle growth. So make sure that as you're getting close to failure, you're not speeding up the cadence of your reps. Stay strict with your execution, standardize your reps, and keep a 2 to 4 second eccentric from the beginning to the end of your set. Because it's at the end of the set where it really matters and it really counts when it comes to muscle hypertrophy. Earlier in the set, it still counts, it still matters, but just not for the same reasons that you think it does. Yeah. Have a little sip of my intra shake. I don't know if you can call it a shake. My intra drink. Okay, one sip. I meant to do a different row, but I can't be stuffed setting it up. So I'm using the pin loaded machine because if I do the other one, it's essentially the same exercise, it's just the other one's plate loaded. It's got a slightly different force profile, but I'm not too concerned with the force profile, rather just making sure that I get enough mechanical tension in the transverse plane. So this one will do just fine. Less fucking around. Oh. So I put the chest support pad a little bit further forward. I want to try to get a little bit more stretch. I feel like I'm still bottoming out the reps at the end here. The plates are touching the stack. I don't want that. I want to keep constant tension through the full set and not have any momentary breaks mid-set after each rep. In terms of rest periods, I'm not going too long on this, guys. We're not resting between sets too long. And honestly, there's literature out there that suggests 1 to 2 minutes rest between sets seems to be ideal for hypertrophy based goals when training. Maybe on bigger, more multi-joint movements, 2 to 3 minutes rest between sets. But saying that too, the literature is always going to fucking change, guys. We're constantly improving how we conduct studies, and I mean, the actual subjects in the study play a pretty significant role in how reliable or how applicable the data is to, say, you as a assisted bodybuilder, or even you as a drug-free bodybuilder who's got a lot of experience, a lot of years in the trenches, so to speak. So I don't really put much merit or, I suppose, faith in the findings of literature when it comes to rest periods. I just think, and I like to use a common sense approach, rest long enough so that you are not jeopardizing or compromising your output on that next set, but not a minute or a second longer. And that's going to vary from person to person. It's going to be exercise specific as well. So individual specific, exercise specific, even phase specific. If you're in a deficit versus a surplus, it might require a little bit more or less time. So it ultimately really depends on a multitude of factors. There's no kind of cut and dry answer of this many minutes. Just basically figure it out for your fucking self. All my clients, I program rest intervals as needed. So if they look at their programs, 99% of the time it will say rest time between sets as needed. Basically just means choose the amount of time that is applicable to yourself. A little bit lighter today compared to earlier in the week because I am doing a high rep range today. You're probably wondering why the hell I use this machine the way I use it, because it's not the, I guess you could say, orthodox way to use this machine. It's not the way it was intended to be used. Simple fact, if I sit in it the way it's intended to be used, my abs take over and they cramp the fuck up. So I'll do this to basically avoid ab cramps and to be actually able to ensure that my triceps are the rate limiting factor in the movement, not my abs. Okay, so last exercise for triceps, just a dual rope cable extension. Doing dual ropes so I can just change the angle at the shoulder slightly and just target the long head a little bit more effectively, because contrary to the popular belief, doing overhead tricep work doesn't target the long head more. Go figure. Alright. Just grip a little bit higher so I don't bottom out the reps and the stretch. I want to make sure the plate stack doesn't touch the actual stack.